Hey everyone. So, this is actually a pretty exciting post for me. Just last week, March 12th, was the 6 year anniversary of my health absolutely fucking imploding, or what I call the official start of my healing crisis. You might notice that that's also exactly when COVID and quarantine officially started, which is crazy timing, but the two are completely unrelated. But anyway, so this didn't come out of nowhere for me, right? In the years and especially in the months and weeks leading up to it, I was already having a ton of symptoms. I was seeing doctors and acupuncturists and different practitioners, trying to get a handle on what was going on, but I couldn't. And the worst part was like, I knew it was going to get really fucking bad. I mean, for most of my life, I had been powering through with like one foot on the gas and the emergency brake up. I've known that. I've known it since high school. I've always had health issues. I've always had fatigue. I never exercised. I have always eaten like shit. Number 11 on the McDonald's value menu. If you know, you know. But I was so desperate to show up like everyone else, to be normal, that I was operating way outside my physical capacity. So my whole life, I kind of knew a crash out was coming at some point. I just didn't know when. And I definitely couldn't have imagined how bad it would be. And by February of 2020, I felt like I was on one of those, like, old rickety roller coasters climbing like up, up, up. And that drop, it completely changed the entire trajectory of my life. I had, when it started, mystery gut infections, constant bladder infections, pelvic pain, a kidney stone, at one point like debilitating neck pain. I'm absolutely forgetting stuff. There was way more stuff, but the thing that was making it just impossible to handle was the anxiety. Anxiety doesn't even describe it. Let's call it like paralyzing terror, okay? Because the doctors couldn't figure any of it out. None of it was getting better. I was only getting worse. And I was so sick that I had to move in with my parents out of state for 7 months because I literally could not take care of myself. I was completely bedridden. I mean, honestly, I would remain mostly bedridden for a few more years after that, but I truly thought that I might die. So, what happened? Well, obviously, I got through it, which I'll get into, and I think this is important. I got through it with absolutely zero grace, okay? This was not some calm, enlightened healing journey. There was no dignity, no maturity, like no wisdom guiding the process. All I had was a fighting spirit, and, apparently that was enough. Looking back now and knowing where I was emotionally and psychologically at that time, I am honestly amazed that I somehow had the wherewithal to keep searching for solutions when the medical community had, run out of answers. And to be clear, the healing didn't happen quickly. It took years. And even once I found the tools that helped, it still took years of applying them. Over time, I ended up incorporating a lot of different practices, but the big three that changed everything for me were the medical medium, Nicole Sax's JournalSpeak practice, and Irene Lyon's somatic experiencing work. And if you'd like to work with me, I can help tailor a plan for you using these practices along with many others, while also helping to guide you toward the right medical specialists. Because it's not that I don't believe in Western medicine, I absolutely do. But when you're dealing with a mystery illness or a chronic illness or chronic pain, 9 times out of 10, the system is just going to have you going in circles. When I look back on who I was 6 years ago, I honestly feel like I'm looking at a completely different person, right? Like I'm stronger now. I'm more resilient. I am very clear on what my true physical capacity is, even just day to day. And ironically, I'm much more mature. I'm wiser and calmer and more collected than I've ever been, meaning that all the qualities I was lacking that could have really helped me get through it with a little grace, I'm now finally in possession of. I also now have a massive, like, let's not call it a toolbox, let's call it a war chest of strategies, modalities, practices, theories, protocols, even for new things that pop up. And not to state the obvious, but if I had been the person I am now back then, I would never have gotten that sick in the first place. The other obvious thing is that I never could have become the person that I am now without having gone through this entire miserable experience. So, what I'm trying to say is this: not only is healing possible, but the person you can become and the life you can potentially lead on the other side might just blow your mind. Like, all I wanted was for the pain and illness to stop, but I got a whole lot more. So if you or someone you know needs help navigating chronic illness, my information is in my bio.